Coming up on News Live at 6, police in mourning after the loss of an Oswego sheriff's deputy. What we know ahead.
Plus, an anti-Semitic symbol found in a Watson Hall bathroom. How the university and campus community is responding.
And with grocery prices rising, we dig into farmers markets. Are they the cheaper and more sustainable option? News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is CitrusTV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
A car crash earlier this morning has the first responder community in mourning. Welcome into News Live at 6. I'm Dillon, Brendle.
And I'm Cora, Mayer-Costa. A two-vehicle collision at the intersection of Route 176 and Rowley Road in Oswego has killed the county's sheriff's deputy.
Oswego police say Deputy Kaylee Campbell was T-boned. She was transported to the Oswego hospital where she was pronounced dead.
The other driver is yet to be identified but was taken to Upstate Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say the fatal crash was an accident. SPD responded to Campbell's passing on X, saying the Syracuse Police Department mourns the loss of Oswego County Sheriff's Office deputy who tragically passed away earlier this morning as a result of a traffic accident.
Local first responders held a procession for Campbell that included dozens of police cars and the ambulance that transported Campbell from Oswego Hospital to the medical examiner's office downtown. American flags were flown over multiple bridges across the region to honor Campbell's sacrifice.
DPS is reporting a bias-related incident in Watson Hall over the weekend. A resident advisor found a swastika carved into a bathroom soap dispenser, which has since been removed. DPS Chief Craig Stone says this behavior is not tolerated on campus, and anyone with more information can contact their office or any mandated campus reporter.
One campus organization is pinning the blame on SU. Black at Q's released a statement on Instagram saying, rather than root out white supremacy at SU, the administration has repeatedly chosen to focus on instituting harmful, politically motivated policies that use definitions of anti-Semitism created by the ADL. The primary sources of anti-Semitism are the rise of Christian nationalism and other fascist principles.
SU's pilot project surveilling the state's wastewater network will now be adopted nationwide and possibly around the world. The university's public health department chair, David Larson, has been leading research in early detection of infectious diseases. The team's work recently earned them the title as a CDC Northeast Center of Excellence. With this title, the group will receive $1 million in CDC funding to continue their work.
Have questions about adding a minor or changing your major? The Office of Academic Affairs is hosting an academic fair on the first floor of Byrd Library. Tomorrow, advisors can answer any questions about course requirements, switching home colleges, and postgrad goals from 1 to 4 tomorrow afternoon.
Happening right now, the Engineering and Computer Science Career and Internship Fair is taking place in the Dome. The fair offers students the opportunity to meet with over 75 employers and network with other students and faculty in their fields. Half of the Dome was filled with booths lined by students looking for potential job suitors. They expressed their gratitude for the opportunity to connect with these organizations.
You never know what kind of connections you can make over like literally any knowledge or background or anything. So looking for jobs and internships is pretty beneficial in the career fair, I'd say.
There's so many different companies that pertain to different groups, and they're all different in their special ways.
Companies such as PepsiCo, Novellus, and Micron are headlining the events that will be available to students until 7 o'clock.
Yeah, Cora, while Election Day 2024 is just 40 days away, a new candidate is entering the race for mayor next year to take Ben Walsh's seat. Syracuse Police Department Director of Communication Jimmy Oliver joins current Deputy Mayor Sharon Owens as the two candidates in Walsh's administration to run for the seat Walsh will give up. Both candidates will run as Democrats, facing off in the primary next spring. Oliver was selected to his position with SPD in 2020 during the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement in hopes of building trust between police and the local community.
September is National Deaf Awareness Month across the country. According to Central New York Community Foundation, an estimated 1,500 people are deaf or hard of hearing in Central New York. Our Vaughn is in studio to explain why awareness and recognition of deaf culture is so important.
Thanks, Dillon and Cora. Now, hearing is something I often don't think twice about when it comes to listening to music, being in school, or just everyday activities. But for people like Michelle Corallo, growing up partially deaf was the biggest obstacle to her education.
There was a lot of bullying that happened because of the way I talked, because of the way I behaved, because of the way I just couldn't figure out the rules of like how to interact with people. So it was really challenging. Graduated from high school with a 3rd grade reading level, graduated at the bottom of my class, somehow got into college, same thing.
Cora goes on to tell me that there are many misunderstandings people have about interacting with the deaf community. One misconception being that you have to talk in a different voice or speed. My American Sign Language professor offers advice to students on how to respectfully interact with people hard of hearing and why they should take a sign language class at Syracuse. There are a number of events in Syracuse for Deaf Awareness Month, including storytelling nights and American Sign Language classes that can be found at auroraofcny.org.
Maura, thank you. Since the pandemic, surging prices are making you spend more at the grocery store. Our Mike Lamort spoke with a local farmers market that says they're trying to help you stretch that dough during the growing season.
The vendors at a seasonal downtown farmers market in Syracuse have been able to maintain the same prices for over a decade. Yet you may recall in a previous report, grocery store prices have soared over 25% since 2019. And some vendors are saying their ability to keep these low prices has to do with their business model.
For us personally, we go from our farm into our truck to sell direct.
That farm-to-table model utilized by many of the vendors at the market is why they feel it's important to have these local events.
Sometimes the food in the supermarket is a little jaded and faded, so it's nice to have fresh produce available for them at good prices.
And the farmers are saying they choose the community over greed.
Maybe I don't really need that extra dollar, you know. I'm still making a profit on it, you know. It's not like I'm losing money on it.
I want people to be able to afford my product because I think for some it's a bit pricey.
Now everything that you'll find here at the farmers market is organic, including these tomatoes right here made with no chemicals. Now that's something that locals are saying is hard to come across at the grocery store.
Some grocery stores you get like a small little section, and then there's people who know that just because it says organic doesn't always mean that it's organic. So
the market continues till the beginning of October when growing season ends, which means going back to the grocery store for vegans like John.
I have to just make the best choice that I can. A lot of times I'm buying things that I normally wouldn't buy during growing season because, you know, got to eat something.
Locals can continue to take advantage of these annual low prices and seasonal fruits and vegetables every Tuesday until October 8th. Reporting from Clinton Square, Mike Lamort, Citrus TV News.
Mike, thank you. Not a great day for going out to a farmer's market, really.
No, not at all. Completely trashed, rainy day, you know, but as long as you're inside, you're living the life. Now, Spencer, do I need to bring out my umbrella tomorrow?
Cora, I think you will have to bring out your umbrella tomorrow, unfortunately. Today, 65 degrees right now. We're still seeing some scattered showers here around central New York, and we are expected to see these scattered showers as we move into the evening. We're going to see a low of 61 degrees overnight with rain and a chance of thunderstorms throughout the evening, and we are expected to see that same scattered showers and chance of thunderstorms throughout tomorrow morning. Stay tuned later. I'll have your full 5-day forecast. And also some fun things to do in Central New York for family weekend, but that's all I've got for weather for now. Cora, what else is going on in Central New York?
Thank you, Spencer. Well, we have new details today. The state's Supreme Court is ordering the county legislature to redraw 17 congressional districts. This comes as local residents demanded the maps to be redrawn after claims of gerrymandering. Originally, county leaders from both parties agreed to settle the lawsuit Friday without legal influence. But Justice Joseph Lamondola says the maps must be drawn without help from a commission. This means all members of the legislature will have a say in the redistricting.
A Syracuse woman was killed after being hit by a car Sunday night. 24-year-old Syracuse resident Cora Davis was hit by an SUV near Elmwood Park around 8 p.m. After the crash, she was taken to Upstate Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. Police say the unidentified driver stayed at the scene and has not been issued a ticket. A candlelight vigil will be held for Davis next Tuesday and is open to the public.
Today, Governor Kathy Hochul announced shootings with injury have declined 28% since last year, a drop from 578 to 417 shootings. Specifically, communities being served by the 28 departments participating in the Gun-Involved Violence Elimination Initiative have seen the most reduction. Syracuse reported a 26% decline in shootings as compared to the same time last year. Governor Hochul says public safety is her #1 priority and the foundation of her administration's efforts.
Coming up, Preparing for Micron, a new program for the schools in the area attempting to prepare the future semiconductor workforce.
Plus, the latest on the investigation into former President Donald Trump's attempted assassination. What the findings are after the break.
Women are bad with money.
That's what the world's been saying for centuries.
But now, we've got something to say. Save it. Save the old-fashioned advice, the empty excuses.
It's all worthless, unlike us.
To our fellow females, it is time to save ourselves by saving our money.
Contributing to our futures, investing in our independence.
Until we're no longer 80%
more likely than men to live in poverty in retirement.
So again, we say to that,
Save it. The falsehoods, the feelings of fault. Then the funds.
learn how to save for your retirement at WeSaySaveIt.org.
You're watching CitrusTV News live at 6 with Dillon Brendle, Cora Mayer-Costa, and Spencer Congel. Now, your campus news leader continues.
Welcome back into News Live at 6. Just hours ago, the House of Representatives passed a funding bill to avoid a government shutdown. The bill passed after it removed a proposal demanded by Donald Trump requiring Americans nationwide to show proof of citizenship to register to vote.
The new legislation will extend the deadline to December 20th and fund the government at current levels until then. The bill now waits for Senate approval in hopes of passing before the October 1st deadline.
New York is continuing to prepare for the arrival of Micron. Today, New York Senator Chuck Schumer announced more than $3 million in federal funds to prepare students to work in the semiconductor industry. Programs will be designed for high school and college students around the state.
Schools in Baldwinsville, East Syracuse, and Liverpool will be part of the program, and the Rochester Institute of Technology will develop an online certificate program. Funding comes from the CHIPS and Science Act, which Schumer wrote and was a major part in bringing Micron to Clay.
A Missouri man has been executed for breaking into a woman's home and repeatedly stabbing her. 55-year-old Marcellus Williams was convicted in 1998 of killing Leisha Gale. Her family has repeatedly called for his sentence to be changed to life in prison.
Missouri Governor Mark Parson has been in favor of the execution, saying the decision would bring closure to Gale's family. The NAACP president, Derek Johnson, disagrees, saying tonight, Missouri lynched another innocent black man.
We're learning new details about the events leading to the first attempt on Donald Trump's life. The Senate Homeland Security Committee released a joint report today saying the Secret Service made a series of foreseeable and preventable mistakes.
The bipartisan report blames Secret Service for failing to take responsibility for certain failures in preventing the shooting. The report also blames Secret Service for not sharing information with local law enforcement in real time.
And coming up on News Live at 6, I'll have the latest information regarding Hurricane Helene and a look at what to do during Parents' Weekend. Stay with us.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
From the CitrusTV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back into News Live at 6. I have the latest information from the National Hurricane Center about Hurricane Helene here. Right now, Hurricane Helene in the Gulf Coast, just off the coast of Mexico and Cuba, and it's gaining strength from these abnormally warm waters in the Gulf Coast. Now, we're expecting to see the hurricane make landfall right here in Florida tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and as the forecast says now, it's expected to be a Category 3 or possibly a Category 4 hurricane. And storm surges are predicted to be upwards of 20 feet in this red region here. Now, as we carry on through Thursday and into Friday, the hurricane will make its way, losing strength up into the United States, where it will kind of peter off around here in essentially the United States. But there are many evacuation notices and a tropical storm warning throughout most of Florida. So anyone in Florida, any loved ones you have in Florida, make sure to stay safe and get the most accurate information from the National Weather Service. Now let's bring it up here to central New York. In the next few days here, our weather's not looking so bad. We got some rain tomorrow on Thursday, 60% chance. And then Friday through Monday is looking pretty good. Just about mid 70-degree temperatures all throughout the weekend, partly cloudy each day. It looks like it's going to be pretty good for Parents' Weekend, which here I've got some things that you might want to do for Parents' Weekend. Now you can imagine in this car here, me, Cora, and Dillon, and all of our families, starting here in Syracuse, we can walk around Onondaga Lake. We can have some dinosaur barbecue, go to the game on Saturday. Plenty of fun things. But if you're looking to get around other places in central New York, we could drive all the way over to Cazenovia, where there's another beautiful lake, especially this time of the year in the fall, and have some good things to eat, see some of that central New York scenery. And we can go all the way over to Skinny Atlas, which is kind of a central New York classic. A lot of Syracuse folks like to go here. Another beautiful fall location, a wonderful lake to have some dinner and spend some nice time with your family in one of the most beautiful times of the year here in central New York. Now that's all I've got for the weather today. Dillon, back over to you.
Yeah, Spencer, if you like lakes, this is the place to be. After a record-breaking week, the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 slid to end the day. The S&P lost almost 0.2%, and the Dow fell around 0.7%. Notable losses include General Motors and Ford, both of which fell over 4%.
9 of the 11 sectors of the S&P ended the day in the negative after crude oil futures fell. Despite this, all 3 major indexes are on track for a positive September. The central bank's move on interest rates have helped what is normally a weak month.
Well, coming up in sports, Fran Brown wants to move on. I'll explain more, and I have some on the struggling SU soccer team on the other side.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Welcome back to Review Crew.
On today's episode, we're going to review Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Here's a trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Let's talk about this movie now.
Let's talk about it. I liked it a lot.
I love Kick-Ass.
There are parts of me that want to just go through frame by frame and see every single multiverse when they'd have those flashes.
Yeah, the big flashes. Me too.
Talented, funny, handsome. Tim,
come on.
You got it all, buddy. You're like my own person.
Look who's talking. Come on.
See you next week.
And now, your CitrusTV Sports Report.
Last Friday night is certainly in the past for Syracuse football. Hello, welcome into sports. I'm AJ Myers. After a victory over a then-ranked Georgia Tech squad, the Cuse were expected to roll past Stanford. Yet that did not happen as a Cardinal walk-off field goal kick, stunned the Dome crowd. Although that was last Friday night, and head coach Fran Brown is asking everyone to focus on this weekend.
Today, and we're ready for Holy Cross, then we'll be able to move on and just lock in on Holy Cross, because we can't change what happened with Stanford. Coach Fran lost the game. I just kind of said that, and we keep trying to bring that same thing back up. So that's completely myself, and we'll fix everything else up.
So, Coach Brown wants to pay attention to Holy Cross. The Crusaders have just one win on the year, but do have a talented tight end in Jacob Peterson. The senior had 13 receptions for over 200 yards this season. Remember, versus Stanford, Syracuse allowed its leading receiver, Alec Iomanner, to over 80 yards and one score. The man under center for Holy Cross is Joe Panansky. The senior tossed in 4 touchdown passes so far this year. The Crusaders are without their leading rusher, Jordan Fuller, who suffered a season-ending injury the week prior. Kickoff for the sold-out Dome crowd is Saturday at noon. So the football team is trying to get back on track. Syracuse men's soccer is yet to get rolling this campaign. The Orange had just one win in their previous 6 matches. The problems for the Cuse lay on both sides of the ball. Defensively in those 6 games, SU has let in 8 goals, and Coach McIntyre's group has no player to score more than twice. So to get those wheels off the ground, Syracuse came up against an in-state foe, Cornell, last night. And as you could tell quickly, the weather played a key factor. Rain throughout this entire match. Syracuse, midway through the first half, nearly got the opening goal, a great save by the Cornell goalkeeper. But then 2 minutes later, SU's defense is carved open a near goal for the Big Red, but it would stay scoreless going into halftime. A nice through ball pass, but that SU defense looking shaky as it has been all season long. We go to the second half, and this would be the breakthrough for Cornell. Across into the box, Connor Miller, first time on the volley, slots it home. That would be the lone goal in this one. SU would lose 1-0. Cornell outshoots the Orange 17-9, and the Big Red have won the last 2 meetings against Syracuse. With the rain and the cooler weather, it certainly feels like fall. Yet for the Mets, it has been fall since the middle of July. New York has been in a postseason battle for a wild card spot all season long, and this week the leaves are certainly falling. The Mets come up against their division rival Braves. Yesterday was not an ideal start with a 5-1 Atlanta victory, although it was expected that tonight they'd get that maybe chance to rebound, but it's been postponed. And it's not just tonight's game that's been postponed. Tomorrow night's game as well has also been postponed. So what does that do? That means for the final game of the regular season, the Mets and Braves will have a doubleheader right before the end of the year that will most certainly decide who gets this final wild card. Guys, that's something that's kind of unprecedented. You don't really see an entire baseball season come down to the final 2 games, and it's going to be a doubleheader. Of course, the Mets and Braves both have games to play before that doubleheader, but these 2 teams have been battling for that last wild card spot all season long, and it looks as though it's going to come down to the final game.
Now, AJ, you're talking a lot about this doubleheader. Now, I'm wondering, what makes it so important to each of the teams?
Well, what makes it so important is it's going to decide who gets that final wild card spot, most likely. There could be a scenario where both teams get it, but it's more just unprecedented. You rarely see an entire MLB season come down to the last 2 games, and it's also a doubleheader, so that makes another unique situation for the pitching and for the hitters as well. So it's going to be interesting. It's been a crazy Mets season. They started off the season so poor, but now they're so close to getting the playoffs, but who knows? They don't have the game for 2 days because of the weather.
I saw my Phillies take that division. I'm not a huge baseball guy, but when October comes around, it's nice to check in. We'll have your weather when we come back.
One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse,
Yes.
you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back to News Live at 6. Tomorrow when you wake up, temperatures in the mid 60 degrees range here, and we're likely going to see some showers, but we are going to see a nice, not too warm, not too cool high of 72 throughout the day tomorrow. So not a perfect day, but also could be a lot worse.
Spencer, thank you. Maybe a day you could stay in and buy some concert tickets? I think so. Tomorrow morning, Live Nation and former Syracuse quarterback Don McPherson will join Dome manager Pete Sala to announce the next major concert at the Dome.
That's right, and they're saying this concert will be one of the biggest of 2025. This comes after Pink and Metallica were landed to headline the Dome this year. Guys, now, after all these announcements, I'm wondering, who do you want to see?
Okay, so I listened to Post Malone's new album. I enjoyed it, and I just heard he was just in Syracuse. I didn't know that, or in the area. So I would love for him to come to the Dome. I know he's a Syracuse native. I feel like it's kind of a layup for him to come, but who knows?
Yeah, I think he's already been here once, so we're probably not going to get that lucky again. Spencer, who do you think?
You know, I don't know. I feel like there's so many wonderful artists that that would be wonderful in the Dome. Just someone that we haven't seen here in Central New York before would be great. You know, something unique, something interesting. I would go to.
Yeah, some other tours that are kind of finishing up. Obviously, Taylor Swift. My girlfriend would certainly love that. Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, Justin Timberlake, and Usher maybe extending theirs. Who knows? 2025 tours around the corner, Linkin Park, Katy Perry, Coldplay, Oasis, who knows? McPherson, here, how about this one, guys? He graduated in 1987. That's the year U2 performed in the Dome.
Wow.
Maybe your parents would be excited about that. But hey, that's Citrus TV News live at 6 this Wednesday.
Don't forget, you can follow us on X and Instagram at CitrusTV News. Now, for the entire Citrus TV News team, I'm Cora Mayer-Costa.
And I'm Dillon Brendle. Have a great night, Syracuse.